At 23, a man looked me in the eye and told me I didn't have the instincts to protect anyone. 11 years later, I'm standing in a White House corridor, earpiece in my ear, hand near my jacket, and that same man is waiting for me to give the order. Nobody handed me that hallway. I spent years checking bags on a loading dock, working the shifts nobody wanted. And the mistake that almost ended everything, it wasn't made by an enemy, it was made by me. This is every step, from the rejection to the room they swore I'd never enter. Let me take you back to where it started, a gray room, 3 people across a table, a senior agent named Merrick doing all the talking. I'd prepped for months. I answered every question clean. Then he leans back, looks at my file, and says 4 words that follow me for a decade. No instincts, can't teach that. 12 seconds of silence, and my dream is dead. I'm 23, 31,000 a year. A mattress on the floor, told I'm missing the one thing you can't study for. So I take the only job that'll have me. Overnight security at a warehouse. $14 an hour. The most boring job on earth, and the best training I ever got. Because all I could do was watch people. Who slowed down when they saw me, who sped up, whose hands didn't match their words. 6 months in, a driver rolls up at 3 a.m. right badge. Wrong energy, his paperwork is perfect. But his eyes keep drifting to the security office, and his hand stays flat against his jacket, like he's holding something in place. I stop him. My supervisor is furious. Then we open the truck, half the pallets are stolen, and there's a knife taped inside the man's coat. Nobody said thank you. But that night taught me something Merrick's table never did. Instinct isn't magic. It's 1,000 tiny details you don't even know you're collecting, until one of them screams. That catch got me noticed. Armored transport, then a protective detail for an executive with death threats. Now I'm reading rooms instead of doors. Advance work, walk the building before the client arrives, find the exits, the faces that don't belong. 26, and finally good at something. So I do the thing I was scared to do. I apply to the police academy, because the road I want doesn't skip the badge. It nearly breaks me. I fail my firearms qualification by 2 points. 2 points. I retake it at 5 a.m., 3 weeks straight, until my hands stop shaking. Then 4 years on patrol, reading the half second before a man decides to run or reach. By 30, I make detective. And then I do the thing I swore I'd never do. I apply to the Secret Service again. At 32, I finally pass the exam. I failed at 23. I raise my right hand, sworn in, at the agency that told me I didn't belong. And here's what nobody tells you. They don't put you on protection. Not for years. New agents go to a field office. And my first assignment isn't guarding anyone. It's a desk, counterfeit currency, wire fraud. I spent a decade fighting to protect people, and now I'm chasing paper trails at midnight. I almost quit. But that desk forced one skill into me, patience. And on one fraud ring, I catch a pattern nobody else did. I pull the thread. 9 arrests. And for the first time, the field office learns my name. That case puts me on the list. And the list is how you get your first taste of protection. It starts small, temporary details when foreign leaders fly in. Then campaign season hits, the candidates get Secret Service protection, and my name comes up for a candidate detail. Crowds of 10,000. And I'm running advance on the rope lines. The closest I've ever been to the mission I chased since I was 23. And it's where I almost throw it all away. Outdoor rally, I'm working a rope line, and 30 feet out, there's a man I don't like. No weapon I can see, no record we flagged. Just wrong. The way he tracks the protectee, the way he fights the flow of the crowd. My post is fixed, a side entrance. Protocol says hold it. My gut says move. I move. I leave my post and push toward him. And while I'm gone, a different man comes over the barricade, at the exact spot I was supposed to be watching. He's just a protester with a sign. But that's not the point. The point is, I abandoned my sector on a hunch, and for 11 seconds, the protectee's flank was wide open, because of me. It could have been anything coming over that rail. My instinct was loud, and it was wrong. I get pulled off protection, investigated, and the man reviewing my case is Merrick, assistant director now. I sit across that table from him again, 11 years later, and I can see him thinking the exact thing he thought at 23. Then it happens. A supervisor I trust slides me a statement, sign it, and part of the blame shifts to a younger agent who was near the open sector, a kid who did nothing wrong. It would save my record. Nobody would ever question it. I sit with that page for a long time, and I realize the whole reason I wanted this job was to be the guy who never lets the vulnerable one take the hit. So I write my own statement instead. I put every bit of it on me. That choice costs me a year. Desk duty, retraining, swallowing my pride. But it's also why I come back. Because when I do, I finally understand what Merrick got half right. I do have the instincts. What I didn't have was the discipline to hold my post when my gut was screaming. A hunch you can't act on inside the system is just noise. So I stop trying to be the hero who spots the one guy. I become the agent who covers his sector so completely that nothing gets through. And slowly, they let me back in. Not to the top. You don't earn the president's detail back in a year. They put me on a former president's detail, lower profile, and I treat it like it's the only thing that matters. Every site, every route, every exit walked twice. On one visit, it pays off. I catch it. A service corridor that isn't on the floor plan. An unlocked door that should have been sealed. A blind spot that could have swallowed a whole threat. I flag it. We lock it down. Nothing happens that day. Which is exactly the point. The shift leader writes it up, and that report climbs. Then the assignment every agent dreams of opens up. Selection for the Presidential Protective Division. The tip of the spear. Board interviews. A full review of my jacket. Every case, every commendation, and the failure. And the senior official whose signature has to clear me, Merrick. The man who told me I had no instincts is the last name on the page. For weeks, I don't know which way he'll go. Then the call comes. I'm in. He never explained why, but I found out what he wrote in the margin of my file. 4 words again, different ones. Now he has both. Which brings us back to that corridor. A live movement inside the White House. My earpiece is hot. My hand rests near my jacket, ready, the way 10,000 hours taught it to rest. And beside the detail leader walking the president's floor is Merrick, the man who measured me at 23 and found me short. The detail leader turns to me. Corridor's yours. Are we clear? The whole hallway goes still, Merrick included. I run the room the way I ran that warehouse door 11 years ago. Faces, hands. One staffer by the far wall is standing wrong, too stiff, too eager. Not a threat, just someone who doesn't belong in a secure movement. The old me chases it and leaves the flank open. Not anymore. I flag him, hold my position, clear him out without breaking the corridor. Corridor's secure, I say. We're clear. The president moves. Nothing happens. And that's the whole job. Nothing happening. On purpose. Forever. As the detail passes, Merrick catches my eye. He doesn't apologize. Men like him rarely do. He just gives me a short nod. The kind you give someone who earned the thing you tried to keep from them. People think this work is about instinct. It isn't. Instinct is what gets you noticed at a warehouse door. Discipline is what keeps you standing in a hallway where being invisible, uneventful, and completely unbreakable is the only win there is. The man who told me I wasn't born for this was right about one thing. You don't study instinct, but everything that made me worth trusting, I built. If this one hit you, tap subscribe and watch the next story right now.